Hello, my name is Lidia Rebecca Parra, and in this occasion, I would like to talk about the principle of assessment: practicality, reliability, validity, authenticity. And this presentation also contains an assessment activity to understand in a better way these principles. Okay, now talking about the first principle, practicality. This principle of assessment can be defined as the extent to which a test is practicable in terms of the resources necessary for its intended context and use. This principle highlights the importance that a practical test have the following characteristics: consistent time, consider time, resources, and administration issues to evaluate the student work. In other words, these principles have three main characteristics: easy to design, easy to administrate, and easy to score. Now, talking about the second principle, this is reliability. This is the second principle of assessment. Reliability refers to the consistency of scores or information obtained with an instrument applied in different times or moments. To assure reliability, the author suggests giving clear directions and using rubrics for scoring and evaluate to avoid suggestivity. In this way, reliability is manifested by the consistent in assigning scores to extend each student's performance in the task. This has two components: the performance of candidates from occasion to occasion and the validity of the scoring. Now, we continue with the third principle, validity. This principle have a relationship with the following information. If a test is measured what needs to be measured from the student, that is a validity test. All types of validity are tests that include all things that the students have learned, practice, and training in the classes. Validity can be categorized based on the strategies. In this case, we can observe some types. For example, content validity, construction validity, criterion validity, consequential validity, and phase validity. Now, continue with the final principle, authenticity. This principle has a relationship with the authenticity of the language and task in language assessment. The degree to which the language and task used in an assessment are representative in real life situations is referring to as authenticity. In other words, educators must analyze whether the evaluation accurately captures actual language uses in a natural setting. In these principles, the task asks the students to act in a natural way. They have to maintain a behavior such in a real life. Now, for understanding these concepts in a practical way, I would like to show an assessment activity that help to understand in a better way these principles. This activity I'm going to develop in my classroom with students in the 8th year of a public school. The students of the 8th year of the Oriente Equatorian School are working on the topic Introduce Yourself. During the class, they listen and read an example of an introduction we can observe in the image, and they learn some useful expressions useful in an introduction. These useful expressions. Okay, now I'm going to use to evaluate, to assess them, the following activities. The student have to choose a new name, new age and nationality, and square blocks. 2, develop this activity. Now, for this, I'm going to use a dialogue to assess them. The students first have to imagine that they meet in a first time in a party. Second, they have to practice the dialogue. And next, they make a brainstorming and take notes for the dialogue. Also, they have to use the expression of the useful expression chart. Also, after that, they act out the dialogue and immediately in groups of 2 students, they develop their own dialogue. For this, they have to choose new name, age, nationality, and squad roles. Now, the question is how to apply the principle of assessment this activity. Well, in several ways. For example, the dialogue respects the practicality principle because it's easy to design. The students only following the model that I provide them during the classes. Also, it's easy to administrate because they don't need economical resources to do it. Similarly, to score the participation of each student, I use a rubric to assign a grade. This rubric contains aspects such as grammar, pronunciation, content, and creativity, demonstrating the application of the reliability principle. In addition, during the class, I provide them a clear example of the introduction. Also, give them useful expression to use in an introduction. For this reason, respecting the validity principle, I assess the knowledge of the students based only in the contents that my students have learned and practiced, no more. Finally, in this assessment activity, the students use a natural in a real language. For example, they use basic aspects such as name, nationality, and age in the introduction, demonstrating the application of the authenticity principle. In conclusion, this assessment activity following and respect the principle of assessment, demonstrating the importance in teaching and learning process. Thank you very much. This is a biography that considered important for develop this activity. Thank you very much again.